Hello everyone, welcome to our next reading. Today we are looking at what are your best qualities, your greatest strengths. We're going to look at strengths that other people would identify for you, strengths that you may not be aware of. So I'm really excited. Let's dive into it. Got 3 different piles today. Please pick whichever one feels right. And if you're in the middle of one and it doesn't sound like it resonates, then try another pile. So for the first pile, we've got this gorgeous, and the cat says hello. This is the gorgeous Amethyst for pile 1. Pile 2 gets this beautiful Citrine. So pretty. Oh my goodness, and an extra headbutt. Okay, so that's pile 2. Excuse me. And last but certainly not least, we have pile 3, Granite. This beautiful stone here. Alrighty, so feel free to pick whichever pile you feel drawn to, and I can't wait to see you there. Bye. Hello, group number 1. If you chose this beautiful dark amethyst, this is going to be your reading all about your best qualities. I am so excited to get into this. Okay, so what I've decided to do is pre-shuffle a few of the oracles to start about your best qualities, and then we're going to dive into some tarot. So I'm really excited. Let's get into it. All right, so for the archetype here, we have beggar. We have fear. We have strength. We have the mouse. We have the offering. And we have Magnus Opus, the great work. It's always funny. I feel like I'm like, oh, we're going to see what piles we get. And then I get like the deepest piles. So if you're here, welcome. And I'm so happy to have you here. Because you've got nothing short of radiant energy, if I can say. The fact that strength and fear are, juxtaposed basically with each other, right? I think you could be, again, take what resonates. You could be someone who's smaller in stature, someone who's a little shorter. You don't necessarily have to be. You could be someone who's a little bit younger. In some way, shape, or form, it's funny. I always have a group I've noticed where you're underestimated quite a bit, and you've definitely had a hard kind of set of realities that you've had to face. It could have been in childhood. It could have been just difficult life experiences. If it was, being homeless at any point, I'm truly sorry to hear that. But regardless of what the circumstances are, you have definitely had to kind of see the depths and the dark parts of life. And I think that what you have really managed to do is create something incredibly beautiful with your life in spite of that. I think that you may resonate more with the mouse when maybe some of this fear energy, this might be more of a past energy. And again, I think you show up with a lot of like compassion, kindness. When I was channeling your energy at first, I was thinking, again, since this is Amethyst, if you could have a February birthday, so you could be an Aquarius or a Pisces, don't have to be. But one thing that really struck me with this offering as well is I think you have an incredibly generous heart. You're incredibly open-hearted. You might have, as a love language, like gift giving might be something that you're really good at. And it's funny because I kind of feel like I see like 2 sides of the coin here. I see what other people might see, which is the success. I mean, the fact that we literally have like a masterpiece, right? Like, I think when people might look at you, people might see a really rich, abundant, beautiful life. And then it's even more wonderful when they see how kind and giving you are. And I think it might surprise people. Maybe some people are at times, not sure how to read it, but then it becomes this deep, deep respect. Oh my gosh. Like, I think people have such a deep level of respect for you when they not only get to see, oh yeah, they do have an incredibly abundant life and they've created something beautiful, and they're quiet about it. Incredibly humble is really strong as well. I think, to show up in this mouse energy and yet have all this powerhouse dynamic with it, the cards coming out this way feels relevant, right? Like, I think you've probably had to rely on yourself, rely on your intuition, and whatever it is that was able to keep you strong, keep you anchored, has also kept you incredibly disciplined, has given you integrity. And I think really the strongest piece is this humility. You don't forget where you came from. It's funny, I see these, like, I don't know, somebody could be from somewhere very cold. Again, I just am imagining like somebody having to kind of undergo really difficult physical circumstances. I don't know if someone didn't have heat or something. I don't know. Just something about that is sticking out to me. And I think you may have been put in a lot of situations where fear is the only natural response. So the fact that it comes with such an open-hearted, giving, generous energy is really beautiful. It's the fact that you don't feel like you have to be the loudest voice in the room to get your point across. You don't have to be flashy and, spell it out for everybody how smart you are, how this you are, how that, because you're just going to let your work speak for itself. And boy, is it impressive. And I think that that's that resilience and that, that kind of testament to your strength. I think when you've seen yourself in this form, you've seen yourself at the lowest of lows, I think you may not judge other people, who are in those positions, right? I think you also might exhibit a lot of compassion for those who either are in a position you might have found yourself in at some point or are in just difficult circumstances. There's something about you that feels very kind and sweet-natured and just like pure, despite what seems like circumstances that also test you and could have led to you being, critical and cynical about the world around you and not wanting to, kind of have your emotions on your sleeves. I think there's something in this new chapter for you. I think painting is coming up. It doesn't have to be painting, but for some reason that is feeling relevant. I don't know if you work a lot at night and you're kind of like a night owl, or that's when you do some of your projects, but you really are a strong presence, but there's this mix of something that juxtaposes that a little bit. Like, again, you have a big personality, but you are small in stature, you're shorter, or you're incredibly abundant, you're extremely successful, but when people learn about your backstory and how far you came, they gain even more respect for you and realize how much you actually don't share. And I feel like you've probably had to be your own compass for a lot of things. You've probably had to trust your intuition when you may have not had anyone or anything else you could trust. Again, take that as it resonates, but I'm just seeing that there's a lot of bravery that has to come out of stressful situations. Even if you felt scared at the time, there's a resilience and a strength and like almost like a foundation that you create for yourself, right? Where you almost know, like, even if things get bad, you know, I know what it's like to be at the worst place. And since I know what that place looks like, and I know I'm not going back to that, you know, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not as afraid anymore. Just something about your life story, I think, really, again, not to make that be the best quality about you, but I feel like to start, I feel like you're just so, there's so much more than meets the eye. And I almost feel like when I look at this mouse, I see the little dots. It almost feels like people get little flickers of you. I think part of that also might be you may not be somebody who needs the center of attention all the time. And I think when people see how impressive you are, it makes them really appreciate the fact that you don't put yourself on a pedestal, a platform. What was I? You don't put yourself on a pedestal. You don't put yourself as above anybody else just because you've gotten out of a certain I can't speak today. Just because you've gotten yourself out of a certain circumstance does not mean that you're now frowning upon others who are dealing with the same thing. I don't know if you're like a teacher or a counselor, or you do something where you're kind of like mentoring others or supporting others. There's something in what you do in your day-to-day that is related to what you either grew up with or a difficult circumstance in your life. Again, there's something in this where it's you're giving back to something that may have given you some support. I don't know why Big Brothers Big Sisters is coming up, but yeah. And you might be very outdoorsy as well. I think there's probably kind of a laid back maybe energy, or maybe an easygoing energy, in the sense of like you're kind of down for anything. And I think when it kind of mixes with all of this, it's like, wow, this person, I think there's just a profound respect is really what I'm picking up on, of like, oh my goodness, like, you know, there's a lot more than all that pile one shares. Without repeating myself endlessly, I think that that's a really cool quality already. I kind of want to shift this over because I want to look at some of our tarot. So I'm going to shuffle live as well. So I'm going to get that set up for you, and I'll see you in a few minutes so we can get some tarot. All right, pile number 1. I'm excited to jump in. I have assigned a different meaning for each card I'm going to shuffle on camera. And I'm hoping that each one will kind of give us some answers, and then we're going to go from there. Please give messages for pile 1. So the first one we have is, what do you bring to the spaces that you're in as your best quality? What kind of energy does pile 1 bring to the room? Page of Pentacles. I love that. Okay. Well, to start, I'll just start off kind of reading each card. So what I love is Page of Pentacles is patient, curious, grounded, and like there's kind of this childlike energy a little bit. There's this, you know, any page I feel like I really get a strong feeling for, of just being someone who is in the beginning stages, and yet you may not be at all. But I think you are very kind of humble, and again, you don't need to be the center of attention. The energy that you bring in doesn't scream, it doesn't shout, but it doesn't have to. It speaks for itself. You might be the kind of person as well, I'm feeling as well, when you walk into a space where like the animals naturally kind of gravitate towards you. I could see also like just, I don't know, for some reason you being a bit outdoorsy, maybe something that you kind of bring into a space is just, you know, people see, like, I don't even know, on your back, on your water bottle, you have a sticker of a place you've just been to, or on your backpack you have a magnet, or I don't know, some keychain from somewhere that you went. And people ask you questions, and it's funny because I feel like you have answers, but you never claim to be the authority on anything. And I think that's a quality that a lot of people really respect. I think there's a lot of people that show up trying to put up a front and seem like there's something that they're not. And you're very honest in how you walk into a space. You're never coming in under false pretenses. And I wonder to what extent as well, like having had maybe the experiences you've had in your life, or you know, whatever kind of defined you didn't turn you cold. It left you very grounded. You could also have like an earth rising sign, I'm feeling as well, like a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. But again, you are not one to be flashy. I feel like you're more likely than not, if you wear something that's nice, or you wear certain clothing that's nice or something, you're never going to be the one to be like, ooh, look what I got. And again, there's nothing wrong with talking about things that you get, or, you know, being excited, but you're not flashy, you're not pretentious. And I think that energy really shows up when people interact with you. You're kind of like that, you know, reliable yet optimistic, curious. You have potential. There's a lot there. So again, I think when you enter a room, you don't scream. Your energy doesn't shout and say, everybody look at me. And I think at the end of the day, though, that's what actually makes people respect you a lot. And I think it ends up being a wonderful quality for you, because you don't have to flaunt everything that you have. And I think it keeps people away who might be more likely to be fixated. Again, I mean, with Pentacles, it's material, right? So you might have a good like material base for yourself, and you might be focused on those things. But again, it just doesn't feel superficial. Yeah. Next card I'm going to pull is, what's the deep value of yours? What are sort of your like deepest values that I think would contribute to you being, or how am I wording this? Contribute to your best quality. Yeah, what is like pile number one's values, and what's like kind of represents their, ooh, the Hermit. Oh. What I love about this card is that there are a lot of things that you've maybe have had to go through alone, on your own, and you don't fear that. I think a lot of people fear being alone, or fear, you know, you might be a little bit more of an introvert. I guess I am getting a little more of an introvert vibe from this group, but again, take what resonates. Docile, graceful. Again, you do it under pressure, you do it in any condition, and you'll do it on your own. Like you're not pursuing growth just for the sake of saying that you're doing it. You know, you're actually doing the work. You've gone deep, deep, deep within you to find, I'm hearing source, but you've gone in deep for whatever your belief system is. Like you've gone in deeply to find the depths, the hardest, most painful things for you, and you have found a way to navigate. I think from what I'm gathering here, I think there's something that you really, I would say it seems like, value in independence, in resilience, in strength, in you know, I would not picture you as someone who is making your problem everyone else's, right? You're someone who, when you're going through things, you take time out, you know, you take a step back. You need that retreat in order to feel more energized, able to handle what's coming towards you, ready to make any sort of plan. And it's funny because there are some people that really are afraid to be alone, are afraid to do things on their own, and you may have not chosen to do this, right? May have just been the circumstances of your life that you had to do things on your own. You had to look out for yourself because there weren't other people there. But I think you value the depth that comes from it. I could see you having Scorpio or 8th house placements, 12th house placements. There's something deeply psychic in you that is able to at the depths, the darkest parts of you and the hardest parts of your life, you are able to rise back up. And it's in these times people may sometimes find like, you know, that they don't hear from you for a while, and then you kind of pop back up and you're in a new place, you're doing new things, you're doing this. And it's just because I think introspection is important to you, awareness of self and others is important to you. And I think there's something for you as well with the inner world that matters. I think that you've probably had to delve into your own inner world a lot, and it makes me wonder if maybe that also makes it important that the people who spend time with you also be willing to do this work for themselves, because you have to be able to go through this hermit to come out of it on the other end. And this is a part that a lot of people have a hard time with, because sometimes, you know, it's not that you have to be single in order to be in this phase. You can obviously be in a hermit energy in any phase, but you do often have to venture into this alone. Or you're either with somebody who is willing to do the work, but they have to be willing to meet you. And I think that feels like an important value to you that I want to say is it matters that people do the work for themselves, because you've had to do the work for yourself. And it's not out of punishment or spite that you want people to do it for themselves, but it's because you need them to show up for themselves the way that you've learned to show up for yourself. And that's in partnership, that's in friendship, that's in everything. Because if you have people that don't do that, but then just see the positive things that come in your life, they're going to possibly project, you know, their own jealousies, their own frustrations that you're getting the things that you want. But you're getting the things that you want because you were willing to do it alone, even when you didn't have a clear path. But you were willing to just follow and just see what happens. And that is why I love the Hermit card. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop myself there. But that's a beautiful energy. And I'm hoping that kind of as we go through this, right, that we'll get like an even fuller picture, which I'm really excited for. Third card specifically, we're going just greatest strength. Whoa, these cards just flew out. We're doing the greatest strength that pile one has, that you're known for. And, you know, it's a pretty kind of something you might be aware of as well. But let's see how this resonates. Sorry, my camera just got a little funky there. Okay. Tell me about pile one's greatest strength. We don't even have to question it. Like, that's just, whoa. One card at a time, please, Spirit. My goodness. A lot of cards want to come out for this. It's funny. Okay. One card, please, about their greatest strength. That's another thing here is I think you've got several strengths, and that might be a reminder for those of you who feel like maybe, I don't know, a sense of lack at all. Like, just remember, there are lots of cards that want to fly out right now to tell you about your greatest strengths. Oof. Okay. 8 of Wands. Oh, I love that. You're willing to take a gamble on yourself. You're willing to take the shot when push comes to shove. You're willing to do what needs to get done. I think that it's your resilience, your firepower. There's this passion. There's this, you know, energy. Again, you look at this mouse energy. This mouse energy is followed with strength. There is a fuel, and I see this red card. There is this fuel, this fire, this spark, this energy that can't be denied. And even if there are maybe other pieces that sometimes make you underestimated, right? Like we mentioned, your age, size, you know, if you're like a little shorter, you look a little younger, whatever it might be, right? Or you're very sweet and easy to talk to and your energy may not shout from the rooftops, right? But again, it's the fact that this exists with this backing it up. I think even if you've got a more quiet or reserved energy, your soul is powerful. Oh my God. Like just that strength right there. I don't know why it makes me think you could have air or fire moon, because I see the bird and then also the fire, right? You don't give up. If you get knocked down, 10 times, you get back up 11 times. And on a like spiritual level, I feel like this is a group that's spiritual, so I'll delve into this part. I think you're really strong spiritually, and I think where you may seem less powerful. I don't want to say that. You are so incredibly powerful. You are passionate, energetic, artistic. I think you're funny. You're likely somebody who's got good wit and a sense of humor and has this fiery strength, right? That helps to support everything else about you. It's like that backbone. I think there's that feeling that you've always kind of got something in your pocket, like something in your back pocket. You've always got another idea, something else to do, another solution, another workaround, whatever it is, you figuring it out. You're going to figure it out. And there's a hell of a lot of power in that, which I think is really dope. I think, I don't know if you hear the birds out there, they're singing along. I think you could also have, when you do decide to speak up, a powerful voice. Those birds chirping makes me think of that, of like, you've got the firepower to match any circumstance, any situation that comes your way. Again, it's that resilience, that strength, but it's also that it comes in this form of like excitement, that you rush ahead when there's any sort of lesson or difficult kind of chapter in your life. You charge ahead and you don't look back. And I think that's a really strong quality to have, specifically when you are already somebody that we can tell is so resilient and has been through so much. The fact that you can keep marching ahead with this passion, this drive, this energy, this excitement, it's because you know that you're destined for a lot more. I think you've got a lot more than you know it, than you even are aware of. All right, the next card I'm going to do here is, what in your greatest strength is the biggest gift to others? Tell me about how pile 1 is a gift to others. Tell me about how pile 1. Tell me about how pile 1's biggest strength is a gift to others. Oh my goodness. Let's keep trying again. One card, please. Tell me about, how is pile 1's biggest strengths? How are they a gift to others? Wow. 10 of Swords just flew out. Yeah, again, I don't know if, I'm even thinking like maybe you write a book, or you like write a story or something about your life, a memoir. There's something about your story. There's something about the trials and tribulations that you've been through, the challenges that you've been through, that truly serves as a gift. And this is not to say that your hardship's all worth it because it's good. No. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that your ability to, again, like we said, come back from difficult circumstances, get back up after getting knocked down, that inspires other people. Other people look at you and see someone who has been through so much and yet does not let the world harden them, does not let the, doesn't have a chip on your shoulder, doesn't need to walk in reminding everybody who you are. You walk in and just are just enjoyable to be around. You're pleasant, you're smart, you're curious, you like learning, and you like, stability and creation, right? And then to find out that you've been through all these things, I think people really are like forced to kind of face themselves a little bit. Maybe they're forced to face themselves because they're forced to see like, oh wow, you know, pile one had all of these circumstances, you know, against them, and they did this, and maybe that's something I should try. The fact that I think you're also very transparent about things that don't go right in your life or that go right. Like, you're not hiding or trying to make it seem like things are perfect. You're very transparent in this. I think this card speaks to, again, the fact that you're not going to pretend that things are perfect just because. You know that life has ups and downs, and I think you understand that there's beauty in the ups and the downs. And so I think that you're kind of serve as a beautiful reminder of that to other people, of like, yeah, there are hardships because pile one's been through them. There are difficult things in life because pile one's been through them. And again, pile one still shows up in these ways. Pile one still shows up exhibiting strength, right? With an open heart, you know, always offering. If you have something, I think you're very much the kind of person who's like, if you have, you know, you take your shirt off your back for somebody and you would help anyone. And I think the most profound lesson that you offer others, the gift that you truly provide others, is in seeing that there are truly good people in this world who encounter a lot of terrible things, but don't perpetuate them, you know, towards others, right? They don't continue the cycle. Like, it very much felt like you've taken a lot of hits, but you've never turned around and then done it to another person. The things that have been inflicted on you, you've never done to others, and you will never do. And in fact, I would guess that you probably go out of your way to be the opposite of how you might have been treated. And again, that's such a respectable trait, because there are so many people out there who go through things in life and are understandably bitter, understandably upset, understandably angry and resentful, and don't want to move forward. And then you are just that helpful reminder to people of, hey, it can get better. You can go through these hard things and it doesn't have to define you. You can come from this place and still be successful and still have so much to look forward to, so much excitement, so much passion. And I think that's when people realize that, I just feel like you really provide people, even if it's not anything that you intend to. Again, it could be your job, but I also just feel like it's just your energy and in how you show up, that paired with your story, that does it. You don't have to do anything else other than that. For people to know your story and to know where you came from and to see the kind of person that you are today, it speaks volumes. And that's why you don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. And I will say this, I think you have a lot of people that you may not even realize have so much respect for you. And when you walk into a room, classmates, peers, coworkers, friends, just strangers, I think in some way, shape, or form, there is an understanding that you know hardship and you know resilience, which is amazing. I love that about you already, Pile One. Here's one that I really appreciate. My next one is a strength that you don't see about yourself. Should I take this one? Keep shuffling. Okay. I'm going to shuffle this a little better. Tell me about a strength that Pile One does not see in themselves. Knight of Wands. It's funny because you might have, when you were listening to me talk about this, there's possibly someone who might have been feeling like, I don't know, is that really me? I think there's a fiery, passionate side to you that you may not always feel as tuned into. It does seem like perhaps your most comfortable zone is in this introspective, intuitive, again with this amethyst, right? Like, you do best in that zone. I wonder to what extent you really see, your strengths when it comes to, you know, your creativity, laughter, humor, charisma, and charm. Again, it doesn't have to be flashy and loud, but I think there's an energy to you that wants fun, that wants excitement. And I wonder if to a certain degree, maybe some of the experiences you've had in your life haven't allowed you to have that either. So this isn't to say that this is something that you're doing wrong. This is more the universe's way of letting you know that there is this additional layer to you that might be worth exploring, that enjoys maybe different hobbies, that wants to take life, you know, less seriously. And this is not a shame, you know, I don't mean that at all in a shaming way, that you have had to see life in a more serious lens. That's just a given based off the cards that we have here today. Frankly, you've had to deal with a lot, and I want to be the one to tell you, if you doubt that at all, I just want to tell you, pile one, you are incredibly resilient. Incredibly. If I haven't said it 16 million times today, I'm gonna say resilient one more time. You are so resilient. And sometimes the most resilient of us, right, don't get a chance to experience the joy, the fun, the laughter, the creativity, the silliness, the, you know, attention, right? There's a part of you that might enjoy some of the spotlight, even if it's not you being the center of it, just you being part of the group, right? I think there might be a piece where you have this in you, and maybe it's worth exploring, seeing, you know, what is it like when I do something spontaneous, or I try out a new hobby. There's just something in here that if you've had some sort of like feeling of, oh, you know, I want to join a dance class, or, oh, I want to join this sports league, or, oh, I want to do this thing, but there's some hesitancy or there's some fears, you're being told jump into it, because those are strengths. Again, like all the other strengths that you've acquired, all the other incredible gifts that you have, you know, taken with you, I think, through a lot of lessons. I think your next chapter is going to involve a lot of fun, a lot of tuning into a childlike joy, and that can be incredibly healing as well. And you might find that there's some really, really amazing strengths that you have there, and it might be something worth exploring a little more. Summertime feels relevant. Again, animals are very prominent in this, so, and I see like an Aries sort of energy. I don't know, with the horns, I'm thinking of a ram. Yeah, you might be somebody who, you know, really could, I think, benefit from kind of exploring this a little more. Alrighty, the last card I'm gonna do for this little tarot portion, oh, here's the cat, is gonna be actually, I'm changing my mind. We're gonna pivot, because this card already feels like something to tap into. Oh, here's the cat. He's making an appearance. So yeah, you could, I don't know, have a connection to cats, animals. I don't know if orange cats are relevant, but I have an orange cat. The last thing I did actually want to do, because I want to just leave the tarot here. I thought about it. I don't want to do the last question. I'm going to actually pull these cards. These cards are a little messy. They're the love and money cards, but I did want to just pull out if there was any situations that the universe wanted to kind of like draw your attention to that you did like a great job in, or again, that your best qualities showed up in. So I just kind of want to see, or again, letting you know something. I felt a call to pull this deck, and we're going to honor it. So tell me about, I guess, where pile one's best qualities showing up, the circumstances involved, and what they need to know. Please pull for pile number one. I'm going to do 3 cards. Should I do these 2? No. Okay. Tell me. Oh, my goodness. Warning. Wow. So I do think you could kind of, sorry, I'm going to shuffle this and then I'm going to talk. Virgo energy, by the way, could be relevant with the Hermit. 2 more cards to tell me about sudden wealth. Oh. Should I get it? Let's do it. Speculation. Interesting. Okay. I was going to say, first and foremost, I think you can sometimes serve as a bit of a spiritual warning for people. I have, for some reason, I'm just channeling this. I think there are some people who come into contact with your energy as a form of, dare I say, spiritual humbling. I don't know if that's the best term, but essentially you are a bit of a warning for some people. I think there are some people out there who, again, might not be tapping into their own resilience, who might be blaming other people, who might be cutting corners, and you, without even realizing it, I think on a spiritual level, you offer a bit of a warning to them. And it's very likely you may have encountered a lot of people who may have been kind of self-destructive in some way, or you tried to kind of steer them in the right direction, right? Or you tried to kind of like help them see something and it didn't happen. And I want to let you know that that's part of what you're here to do, is to show people parts of themselves, whether those are parts that they're proud of or that they're not proud of. But either way, it's meant to reflect back to them the growth that they need to do. And you do serve as a warning. I also think as well that, again, you seem like an overnight success because you don't flaunt all the work that's had to come to, that it's all had to come to. And I think that when you come into people's lives, they may all of a sudden feel like they're getting a bunch of blessings at once because you have a really wonderful energy that they feel so happy to kind of like have in their life, have in their orbit, that it does kind of feel like sudden wealth in and of itself, right? Like all of a sudden they're kind of receiving a lot more signs and synchronicities. I think you really do come as a heavy spiritual lesson, either to, again, let people know that there's changes that they need to make, or to serve as a blessing, which is beautiful. The fact that your literal presence is a blessing to people. I also think as well, sometimes even just the discussion of you or the conversations surrounding you are what allow you to positively impact others. I think that people who may not even know you, a friend of a friend, a coworker of a coworker, hears about you through the grapevine, again, may never meet you, may never actually really know you, but something about what's shared is incredibly helpful or healing, or whatever it does, it makes other people grateful for you. I don't know what that exactly means, but I'm almost imagining like at your old job, okay, you don't work there anymore. A coworker that used to work with you is telling the new person who got hired all about you. And there's almost something about like the speculation of you, the conversations that surround you, the mysticism that almost happens when people talk about you. Because again, to talk about you is to not even begin to unravel the never-ending mysteries that you have. You have this constant, never-ending stream of just eccentric backstories and, honestly, obstacles and hurdles and things that you overcome. And it's almost like hard to believe when people see you and the way that you show up with this kind of pure innocence and this kindness and this, this humble sort of approach that you have, that again, I think even just the mention of you has been pivotal to somebody. And sometimes it's just your name being floated around that is important for someone else's lesson, their growth. And not to say that your biggest strength is ultimately helping other people only, because it's, it's good to have your strengths be good for you, not just to be serving other people. But the point is that they do both. They've helped you, but they've also helped so many more people than I think you even know. I do just want to point out numbers real quick. So again, November could be significant, also January 1st, January 7th, or July 1st, as well as April 8th or August 4th. Those could be birthdays. Those could be anything that could be relevant to you. I think I'm going to leave it here, but pile one, I just want to say you're a rock star human, and I cannot wait. I'm hoping if you do tap into this Knight of Wands energy, I'd love to hear more about if this resonated for you. You know, please comment and let me know. It's always helpful. And yeah, I'm just really excited, and I hope to have you in the next reading. So thank you so much for tuning in. Bye. Hello, pile 2. If you chose this gorgeous citrine, this is going to be a reading all about what are your best qualities, what are your greatest strengths. So I'm excited to kind of gas you guys up a little bit. Yeah, and so I'm going to kind of start out first with our oracle cards, then we're going to go into the tarot. So let's begin. So pile 2, Queen. Got the shark. We've got passion. Let me push this up a little bit here. There we go. There we go. Okay. We've also got forgiveness. We have got, we'll go with this one first. We've got the temple. And then we've got blood. Whew. Getting a little warm in here. Pile 2. Oh my goodness. You came in with a different energy. Let me tell you. Loved pile 1, but wow, you guys just came right in here. Yeah, let me say that this energy already just feels like a bit of a punch, like just, but a good way, in a good way. Let me be very clear. It is like just the fiery red, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to be fire, but there is something so like energizing and activating about being around you. Where do I even begin? I feel like to start here, right? I mean, I think there's something incredibly captivating about you. I wonder if, you know, you might also kind of have like really good habits when it comes to your health, or I even think of like treating your body like a temple again with this like blood and temple. I think there's something very much about you and your strengths that remind people about the passion that they feel in life. I think you spark up a lot of maybe romantic feelings. Doesn't have to be. Either way, I think you come in and it's like your presence cannot be denied. You are kind of just bright as soon as you walk in, and Citrine, you know, is all about confidence, and it is, I believe it's aligned with Sagittarius, if I'm not mistaken. So again, there's this confidence, this unmistakable sort of charm about you, right? The shark card is interesting to me. I think that you might show a lot of other people insecurities that they have, and frankly, I think you existing might kind of just show other people like, oh wow, okay, yeah, maybe I am a little jealous of pile 2, or maybe I am feeling a little XYZ in my own life. I feel like the way that you interact with the world around you is free, kind of free giving. Like you just sort of, I feel like with you, energy exchange just sort of happens. You flow into a room and immediately bring in this spark, bring in this energy. And I think that it's kind of one of those things that like as soon as people meet you, it's very hard to kind of forget anything about you. And I think with that in line as well with this forgiveness, I think one of your best qualities is probably your ability to move forward and move on, to kind of leave things in the past, right? Leave things where you left them. And a bit of a presence to life, right? A presence to how you show up. I think that you show up with a lot of self-respect. You show up indicating that you care for yourself. You almost, I would say, worship yourself, which in turn makes others worship you. I would say you're probably pretty popular and well liked. I think if anything, when I do see this card again, I also think if anyone tries to kind of put you in a box, they can't. I always think with this gradient white into black, you are able to kind of both see nuance, but also show others the importance of nuance, right? And in recognizing, like, again, some people might see this vitality, this richness, this kind of spark, this, I'm thinking of the French term, like joie de vivre, like you're just so excited to be, that people might want to immediately box you in and say, oh, they're this. And then they find out, oh, you also do this in your spare time. Oh, you're also, you went to school, and you're not just this. You're not just fun and flirty. I don't know. I take that as it resonates, but it feels like there's a bit of a flirty energy. It kind of feels like you flirt with life a little bit. And I think that you don't kind of let anything get in the way of your joy, of your happiness. And so again, that's where I think it's very easy for people to try to project onto you. I wonder if maybe self-esteem is something that's been something that you've kind of chronically worked through. But I think that, again, your presence asks people to be honest with themselves, to be real about what they really, how they show up and how they approach situations as well, because I think your energy is just that powerful. It really is. It's very potent. Like the second you can just feel your essence, and it's like, whoa, it feels like a jolt. And you might find that you have a lot of people that kind of get obsessed or a little bit hooked on like your energy at first, and might feel like they kind of latch on a little bit. And again, I don't think that people really can latch on too much, because I feel like you just kind of float and you just do you. And I think if people try to pin you down or box you in too much, they're going to miss you altogether. And I almost feel like for a lot of people that you've moved on from that might still think about you again, it's kind of just this like no hard feelings. I'm just moving forward. I'm focusing on me, and that's it. And I think it just makes you, I'm not going to lie, it makes you very attractive to people. Again, that keeps coming through, even though that's not all that this is about. But again, when you have passionate energy and you have a magnetic sort of aura to you, that is going to draw people in. That is going to intrigue people. I think that you have a lot of different sides to you. So people may not always, again, know if they really know you as well as they think they do. And I think they often find that, oh yeah, wow, I don't know Pile 2 as well as I thought. Or, oh, there are a lot of different sides to them. But at face value, whew, you just kind of knock off the socks off people. I think it's a really beautiful quality. I do also think as well, you might be somebody who dresses really nicely. People might really love the way you dress, the way you show up. If you try something, other people want to try it again. I kind of feel like you're kind of a trendsetter in that way. Your energy definitely sets the tone. And I'm not trying to sit here and say I have a favorite. I did never have a favorite in my piles, but citrine is one of my favorite stones. So I do love this pile. I love this energy already. And I feel like you show up in a way that's so authentically you that, again, you'll see what's not meant for you, or who's not meant for you, or who's not aligned, just by being yourself. Your energy has that capacity to where you can quite literally, spot people from a mile away and be like, nope, don't like your energy. And yet you didn't even realize you were thinking it. But it just, again, goes to show, I think your energy is so powerful. And on top of it, it really does challenge other people to step up, to re-examine maybe the ways that they've judged or the ways that they view other people. Yeah. Gosh, I love this energy already. Okay, I'm going to scoot these cards over. We're going to pull some tarot, and we're going to get a little deeper into this. So I'll see you shortly. All right, pile 2. I'm really excited. We're going to get into some tarot, as well as I have a little surprise oracle that I'm going to try in a second that I think after this we might like. So let's get into it. What I decided to do for the tarot today was actually one card to signify each question I have. So I originally had 6 questions in pile 1. If anyone came from there, I did have 6 questions, and then I decided halfway through, you know what? I actually just want to do 5 questions. So we're going to follow a similar path unless we feel drawn to do otherwise. I just kind of follow what feels right. All right, so pile 2. First question is, what does your greatest strength, what does that bring to the room, to the energy, to the spaces that you're in? Tell me about what pile 2's best qualities, how those show up in their energy when they enter a space. Tell me about pile 2's energy. 3 of Cups, no surprise. Yeah, I think you show up and you are immediately everyone's friend. I think, again, people may know of you or are familiar with you before meeting you, but it's not until they actually meet you that they're like, oh wow, this energy's for real. You come in with joy, you bring excitement, fun. I think people can't help but smile when they're around you. I think you might bring good stories. I'm seeing with that tea that I see them sipping, right? Bring some good stories with you. I think you're good at conversation. I kind of feel like in any room you walk into and you leave, you kind of leave with one more friend than you came into it, at least. And that could even literally be at, I don't know why I'm thinking the DMV, or I'm thinking anywhere you go. You bring an energy of somebody who's not here to compete, not here to fight with people, but just here to shine your light and try to be positive and bring joy and maybe make some friends. And I think if you are joining the workforce, or you're in the workplace or something, I think your coworkers you might be like a favorite coworker. Just saying, that's a thought I have. I do think that you're probably very well liked in the office. Again, I just think that your presence, your energy brings warmth, brings excitement, brings engagement, and it's kind of impossible to not want to talk to you, to not want to engage, because you are so easy to talk to. I do think that, again, with 3 cups, sometimes what I do think I see is like a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of, again, projection from other people. But people might have that reaction when they see someone that really is authentic and shines in their truth. So it's not your fault, not your problem. The next one, this was such an interesting one for pile 1. I wasn't sure how this question would go, but I was so curious to see how it would go, which is the second one is, what is your deepest value? What are your values? What do you most deeply value when it comes to your approach, your way you live, and how does that contribute to your greatest strength? So let's tap into pile 2. What does pile 2 deeply value? Ace of Wands. Yep. You love, I'm going to guess that you are someone who loves excitement, fresh new ideas, inspiration, creativity. I think you're someone that gets sparked by inspiration. I think it's deeply important to you to have freedom of thought, freedom of expression, to explore and learn more. I think to lean into your sensuality and your sense of self, and the fun, tangible. Again, I keep getting with this red. It really does feel like, what is it? Is red the root chakra? Let me try to remember. I'm always so bad at remembering the colors with the chakras, but it's just, you value that spark. It very much does remind me of Sagittarius and Gemini energy. I do get a lot of that, where it's like, again, when Ace of Wands, it could be fire sign, but it just reminds me of, again, like picking up that pen, that inspiration. I think there's probably something to you where, you feel like it's important to be creative and explorative almost in your search for things, and to always try different hobby, a different skill, a different job, a different this. You don't want to be tied down. Again, I think there's something probably to you about being a little restless. Maybe it is important for you to try new jobs or to kind of shift work environments more often than most, to travel, to explore, to move. I think there's just something in your energy that's constantly seeking more, constantly looking for inspiration around you. And I think that that's a value that probably also helps fuel the passion and that sort of enigmatic, if I have to come up with a word, really just like spark that you show up with. I think it's because you show up with that internal spark. It's not just about putting on a show for you. Like, this is truly who you are. You're curious, you're inquisitive, you want to explore new things, explore the fun, explore just the possibilities of things. And I think that value probably carries you pretty far into, trying to be a new version of yourself, or again, showing up as a friend, with exciting stories and exciting things to share and new philosophies, new things to talk about. Again, I get such strong Sagittarius energy from you, but it doesn't have to be. Could also be Leo and Aries for sure. And again, I think I will say as well for this, just a thought, like, I think there's something about your fire that just can't be stifled. It's in your core, it's in your energy, it's in who you are, in your imprint almost. And so I think whoever you surround yourself with has to understand and appreciate and love this. And I mean, I can't see how they wouldn't, but again, it's about like this being truly who you are, and it's not just a show. You don't just put performance on. My next question was, what in your, greatest strength, your biggest, I love phrasing this question because it's hilarious and there's so many different ways I'm trying to say this, your best quality. How does it show up as a gift to others? Okay, one card, please. Spirit, tell me how group 2 and their best quality shows up as a gift to others. Tell me how group 2's best quality. Wow. Yeah, judgment. That'll do it. Yeah, wow. You may find that you come into a lot of people's lives, and there might be a lot of people that come in and out of your life. Again, I see that same theme with that forgiveness card. I think part of what's an important quality of yours, and what ends up being, don't mind my cat scratching his scratching post. But I think that, again, you symbolize something really important to a lot of people, and you might think that it's not much because it was a small interaction here or a small interaction there, or it was one comment that you made or this and that. But spiritually, you are, I think, a spiritual lesson, but also kind of a redirect for a lot of people. I think there might be people that kind of go and are maybe floating through life, or are just sort of, feel motion, almost like they don't have a direction. They're directionless. They feel kind of lost. And there's something about seeing you, these rays of sunshine, right? Like it puts things in perspective. It recenters them. It redirects them. There's something critical about your energy. And I want to be so clear that this is a profound gift and effect to have on others. In the way that I think that people, whether you speak to them still or not, I think they still remember you. People that you might have disagreed with, had arguments with, or had a falling out with, they still think about you because you absolutely taught them an important lesson. I do think that you are pivotal in that process for people. I think you teach a lot of lessons, but I think it's mostly because Your energy asks people to step up in a certain way, and it's up to them to decide if they are going to step up to the plate or not. But your energy invites them to see if they have been living up to what they say they have. I think with you, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. You're not just out here saying and doing things, you know, and this Ace of Wands really like nails that for me, like really takes the home of like, it's not for show. You genuinely have a hunger, a thirst, and let me say this in the weird, like least weird way possible. You have just a hunger for life and the richness and the wonder and the fun and the joy and the passion that life brings. That spark is in you. That I think it asks other people, how are they going to show up? How are they showing up? Are they showing up the way they want to show up? So I think in some ways you really are like a kind of a karmic checkpoint for a lot of people, frankly. And that's not to reduce your role at all. It's to say that I think you play a much more pivotal role than you realize. Even in situations where you've never talked to the person ever again, you are a pivotal point in a lot of people's lives that really does ask them, is the way that they're going helpful, or is there something that they need to change? That's an incredibly beautiful energy, let me tell you right there. Wow. Pile 2. Again, I don't have favorites, but I do love Citrine. Oops. Okay. The next card we're going to do, what is a strength or a quality of yours that you may not see that is one of your best qualities or is a great strength of yours? Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I think you are so full of love, and I think there's a lot within you. I wonder if sometimes it's easier to express the more fiery aspects of yourself rather than maybe some of that watery aspect, right? I think you're a tremendously caring person. I wonder if maybe there's an element of you that may not realize just how much kindness you really do show, or just how much love you really do bring into situations. I just feel like both in how you show up and how you do things, you may not feel like you're necessarily doing or saying anything important, but it's just the way you show up that is so loving, and it's unconditionally loving. Even when you're upset with people, again, this forgiveness card that came out, I think there's just a part of you that shows a lot of grace to people. You show a lot of love. If someone's having a bad day, I feel like you're the type of person to say, you know what, maybe this is going on in their life, or maybe, you know, this person was mad at me on the road because they're late for work and they're just pissed off at the world, or this person was, you know, kind of mean to me or wasn't that nice because they're having their own issues and they're, you know, dealing with it. But that's not a quality to disregard or to undermine in any way. Like, I hope you understand that is such a beautiful quality, because not everybody shows up with a cup full of love. Like, not everybody shows up with their heart open, shows up with good intent, shows up wanting to connect, wanting to experience depth and connection, and you do. And when things don't go your way, you're not bitter and cold. You're actually quite loving, even in moments that are hard. You are incredibly kind. I think maybe this is a strength that may not always be on your radar, and I wonder if maybe it's because you don't realize how much emanates just from your energy. How much, I've been using so many big words today. Maybe you have a big vocabulary, but yeah, you know, you celebrate yourself, you celebrate others, and your presence feels like a celebration in and of itself. of the beauty of life and the joy in it. And I think in that optimism, it's important to recognize there's a kindness in that optimism. That's important to know as well, is that you don't just view life with this childlike wonder and joy. You view people with that, and you have an open heart. And even if you've had to protect it, and it's not to say that you're opening your heart to everyone and everything, I think it's just to acknowledge that your energy in and of itself is very healing. And maybe that's something for you to be aware of and know that, okay, like, yeah, there's some strengths that I really can maybe offer to people. I realize now that I went a little out of order with my versus pile one. Don't worry, if you didn't go to pile one, it's no big deal. But I'm just realizing I went a little out of order. So the final card I'm going to do is really, what is your, if we're going to call it bread and butter trait, what is your best quality, like, oops, let's just keep shuffling, please. Just that number one, let's cap it off, strength of pile two. Tell me what is like common knowledge. Everyone knows this is like strength pile two. Oh, 2 of Cups. Oh my goodness. Again, I will say this is not to be making it romantic, but you do seem to have a lot of romantic energy around you, whether that is in a connection right now or possible connections. I think a lot of people really do see you as a catch and see you as, I mean, again, Ace of Cups, 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups. Like, there is something about the full package, the kind of all-encompassing energy with you of like, you have a lot to offer, a lot to give. I think that 9 of Swords is the back of the deck on that, which I think is interesting. I think it probably speaks to the fact that maybe a lot of people are nervous to come talk to you. Or a lot of people, even if it's friendships, it can be platonic as well, or coworkers. It's like people want to work with you. People hear about you and want to be your friend. It's like you're kind of that person that everybody wants to connect with because connection with you feels so, so good. And who can blame them? My goodness, pile two. You are something else. Yeah, I love that energy. Alrighty, so now what I'm gonna do is, I did this for pile one. This is my little finisher card. It's an interesting one to decide to go with, but I basically kind of wanted to know, is there any additional context either in situations that you're currently dealing with or certain types of context, like where this best quality shows up, or just whatever wants to come through. But I was kind of hoping to see if we could get a little more context on these best qualities of yours. Ultimatum. Yeah, wow. You do whether you do it or your energy does it, there is something that asks people to either hold on to what they've been holding on to, or hi Finn, my cat, or release and, you know, change their ways, really. I think whether or not you realize it, like, I think somebody might, you know, again, somebody could be used to dating people and, you know, they always treat dating the same way, and then they meet you and it's like, oh, wow, okay, wait, I can't do this with this person. This is different. There's something about your energy that asks people to make a choice between what it is that they are holding on to and where it is that they want to be. Again, this Judgment card just highlights that. Tell me, I'm going to do 2 more cards. Any other information? Whoa. Trap. I think that there might be a lot of people that feel like once they've met you, oh, this was the other one, third party. Again, this is a little bit of a messy deck. Let's see what we're thinking here. I think there's something about your energy that's very intoxicating that definitely kind of pulls people in, right? And so therefore, I think there are some people that may view it as a trap, or that everything looks so good. There must be something that you're hiding, or something that, you know, you're maybe being a little deceitful or something about. Again, I think this is where I think you are just requiring a lot of people to ask themselves, and again, it doesn't have to be a relationship, but it could be asking them, is the partner that they're with really who they want to be with? Is the job that they're at where they really want to be? Is their living situation the way that they want it to be? Are they picking the friends in their life that they really want to be around? Are they picking the partners that they want to be around? Whatever it is, like you are making people ask the hard questions just in your energy. And so I want you to know that like your energy is light and fun and amazing. And if it's not always received that way, just know it's not personal. Know that it's kind of a mind F, if I had to be honest. I think it just kind of messes with people who have been living their life a certain way. But again, with this Judgment card, you show up to let them know, is this really what you wanted? Did you really want friendships that are surface level, that are, XYZ way, or friendships that exist in this way? Because they meet you and they say, wow, maybe I do want friendships that have a little more substance to them, or that, are like this, or whatever. So take that as it resonates. I will also mention March 7th or July 3rd could be important. This doesn't reduce to a date, but the month of May could be important. And then January 4th or April 1st could be relevant. So very, very interesting. I'm so intrigued. I would really love to know how this resonates. If it resonates, please comment, because pile 2, you sound dope. And I would love to be your friend. So yeah, please like and subscribe if this resonated, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. I think I'm going to leave it here for now. All right, bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you selected this gorgeous granite, this is going to be your reading about what are your best qualities, what are your greatest strengths, and I'm really excited because I feel like with every pile we've kind of dove into something different in each. So I'm really excited to kind of see like what this group is to bring. So I've got some oracle cards we're going to start out with, and then we'll get into the tarot. So let's start out here with Artist. Dolphin, got Hunger. You see that? Okay, perfect. Okay, got Failure. We've got the Uncreated, and I might mispronounce this. Althea. Well, let me say this. I think just based off the fact that I had to look at the reading for, the little booklet for both of these, I feel like there's a little bit of an enigma quality to you. It's a little difficult for people to kind of put their finger on who you are. I think you've got a lot of different kind of aspects to you. But let me say this. First and foremost, you have something really deep, and it's sincere, and it understands the work that's involved in growth, healing, creation, everything, right? We have to take a risk. We have to be willing to risk, failure, to risk things not going our way, to risk losing something. There's a fearlessness that you approach life with that I think is so incredible, and a sincerity. I think you're not playing any games. You're not here to make it look easy. You are very much like direct, and you want to speak truth to things. I actually want to read this since I did not know what it was. Let me read the description for you. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is this power. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. I'm not going to finish reading it right now, but let me just say first off the bat, I genuinely think that is an essence that you carry and that people can feel. You are incredibly authentic and colorful, and I love that we have like a bunch of different colors. There's no kind of one main color scheme. There's a bunch, and I really appreciate as well, so this is kind of the uncreated, you see in moments when somebody might see it as I don't know, just nothing special. You see the special things in the mundane, in the ordinary, and it's incredible, really. I think it shows up. And I love that each of these colors are kind of in here in some way. And then here you've got this rainbow. Yeah, I think you kind of clear misconceptions. Again, this feels so broad in how I'm talking about it, because I feel like you do this both in your day-to-day interactions, but also your soul does this a little bit too, if you're thinking about it. I feel like this is a spiritual group. I'm gonna throw this out if it doesn't resonate for you, just no biggie. But yeah. And you're not afraid of a challenge. You're not afraid of things not going the way you want them to. And you kind of are willing to like play in the depth. Play in the, it reminds me, I'm going to talk about myself for a second, but only because I promise I think it resonates for you. I have Mercury in Sagittarius, and I have Mercury in Sagittarius in the 8th house. So I kind of am imagining sometimes when I think about how I communicate, my style of communication is I love to delve into the depths, but there's a lightness I like to strike while I do it. And I think there's something similar for you as well, where like I'm picturing this dolphin kind of being willing to dive down deep in the water, but always make its way back up. And with this kind of the uncreated, I think there's a certain optimism, a joy, like a genuine, like I just look at this artist looking at this artwork and it's like they're focusing in on the uncreated, the opportunity, like the amount of vibrancy in your thoughts is just like incredible. I think there's an unrelenting kind of push that you have, compass that helps guide you as well. Sorry, the camera was getting a little wonky. Yeah, and I think as well, you are always looking at the possibilities as well. I think that people feel very safe being able to talk to you about anything, throw out any idea. Like there's something about you having maybe a little bit of like a whimsical mind. You're creative, again, beyond the 5 senses. You're always kind of scoping out, and yet have this tenacity as well. And I think that it makes for a very beautiful combination. I think that's what gives you this ability to appear light, joyous, have this light energy, have this, this vibrancy, and this daringness, this willingness to delve and to explore the unknown and be willing to take the risks that need to be taken. I think this is all I've got right now for you guys. I'm really enjoying this right now. We're gonna push this aside so that I can do some live tarot. I feel like I'm gonna be able to maybe get a little bit of a better feel of like, maybe a little more of what this looks like in your day-to-day. So I'll be right back. We'll live shovel for that. Hello, pile 3. We're back. I'm going to shuffle for you guys some tarot. And then I also have a little surprise oracle at the end. I was just kind of wanting to give a little context. So, yeah, we're going to start. I'm actually going to shuffle and have one card represent a different prompt, I guess. Ooh, already wants to fly out. So the first card I'm going to shuffle is, what does your best quality bring in the room? Like, what is that? How is that experienced, essentially? Which way does this want to go? Okay. Knight of Cups. Oh my goodness. I think people are pretty charmed when they meet you. Again, that, like, just that colorful, bountiful sort of energy. I think you like to play, you like to, I think there's a romantic side to you as well. It doesn't have to be romantic necessarily, but I think in both romantic and platonic cases, there's a warmth, there is an energy that is just so engaging and like brings you in, you know, it makes you feel like you're a part of something and that there's a greater part of us all being together. I don't know, like, I feel like people might feel quite immediately when they meet you or they have you, they kind of see you in a room, they're like, wait, this is like, feels like my kind of vibe. I think there's a lot of people that really, really resonate with you when you walk into a room. And yeah, it's so interesting. For some reason, I'm randomly getting, I feel like you might have your hands full a little bit. Like, people are like, oh, they're busy, they've got a lot going on, but you definitely devote time and energy and love to the things that matter. And I think it makes people want to be what matters to you because they see how you show up for that. So I like that a lot. Next card is going to be, what is like your deepest value? And I think this one's interesting because I got some interesting kind of insights for 1 and 2. So basically, what should I take it? Do I take it? No. Okay. Basically, what's a part of your value system or your belief system that kind of brings forward these good qualities in you as well? That was an interesting question, and I'm really enjoying what it's bringing up. So yes, this is for pile 3. Please tell me what their deepest value is. The Tower. Again, you are not afraid. And I think that's the thing. It's this fearlessness as well. It's like, not only are you kind and warm and easy to talk to and connect with, but you also are not afraid of change. I think you've known a lot of change in your life. I think you could have a lot of placements that kind of are exemplified by a lot of change. Again, the Tower, I'm pretty sure, is associated with Scorpio. Wait. Let me think about this. Maybe Scorpio. I'm going to correct it if I'm wrong in the comments. But either way, I think there's some part of you, I don't know what noise my throat just made. There's this part of you that knows that in order for good things to come in, there does need to be change. Like, it seems like even if you might feel nervous about change, listen, nobody loves change. There is some part of you, whatever percentage of you, that like is willing to lean into the discomfort of it, is willing to lean into the experience in some way and is saying, you know what, fuck it. Oops, excuse me. Screw it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like go out there and yeah, you know, okay, like I gotta end this relationship, or this situation has to end, or this thing has to come to a close, or I have to move towards this or whatever. Okay. Like there's some level of you that understands, and this could also, if it doesn't feel like it resonates on a 3D level, consider that it might be something that your like soul just kind of understands, and that you're at a soul level you kind of exhibit, even if you don't realize it consciously. Is that you're not afraid to change, and you're not afraid to shake things up, and you understand that in order for good things to come, there have to be difficult things within that we are willing to work through, right? And so I think that that belief probably is what allows you to then have, you know, have the guts to go for the things that you go for, and maybe have the guts to try again when you fail. And that's a really beautiful quality. I'm really curious how it ends up showing up for your next card as well, because your next one is just straight up, what does everybody know is your like greatest strength? Like what does everyone just kind of, is it just understood by everybody, is how I'm kind of thinking of this card. Tell me about pile 3, which just sort of understood. Interesting. You are very patient. That is something that I guess everybody kind of knows, is you, and again, even if you're like, I'm not that patient, again, there's something about, you understand the spiritual lesson behind it, or you understand, okay, I've gotta, you know, move on from this relationship and take some time for myself. And, you know, I think there's almost like a cyclical nature to life that you seem to kind of have a grasp of, that in turn allows you to have this patience of like, you know what? Okay, yeah, things are out of my hands, and I'm just going to trust in the universe, God, source, whatever that is for you. I'm just going to trust in that. And so there is an element of people just kind of this docile, patient nature to you, where you understand, you know, the nature of like things that need to grow, and you're also willing to plant those seeds. And again, there's fires here. It doesn't mean you're not going to complain. It doesn't mean it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. Of course not. But the point is that you're willing to still do it. You understand the value in doing it, so therefore you do it. And that's not actually a common trait, as much as it might seem common if that's something that like that's kind of been your vibe, right? But I'm letting you know, everybody else kind of sees that and recognizes like, okay, that's really special. Yeah, I'm really loving that. Okay. My next one is, in what way is your best quality, or are your best qualities, a gift to others? Tell me how group 3s is a gift to others. The Magician. And it's funny that this one came out because I was actually thinking a lot, and I think the description for this one felt a little more, you know what? I'm going to read it. For some reason, at first I didn't want to read it, and now I do. So we're going to change our minds and do it. Let's see. Okay. I don't think this is necessarily going to be exactly this. It's some guidance maybe we could take. So, there was a time when everyone you know was not yet born, when every city was yet to be named, when your favorite song was yet to be sung. Such is this energy. This card indicates the subtle but profound force that summons all that will be into existence. This most sacred of formulas cannot be manufactured, contained, bought, or sold. It is the pure intelligence of creation pulsing at the door of reality. Its timing is precise, and it is happening now. Do not delay. Allow it to formulate and gestate. Soon create a sketch, a map, or a name will draw itself upon your mind. Envision and believe. All ground is fertile. Life creates life. Wow. I just want to say, as I was reading that as well, maybe there's some guidance in there for you, but also I think people can sense this in meeting you, of like this sense of purpose in meeting you, this sense of feeling like, oh wow, like maybe we could create something together. Like I really do think that you create this sort of you really do, though. You set the tone in a way that creates purpose in the spaces that you're in the people that you meet. And then eventually, as people get to know you longer, they realize that the people you've met along the way, the ideas you've come up with along the way, the organizations and stuff, like you've created, like there are additional things that you have built upon in the time that they've known you, with new people, new things. And so it's like in real time, people see you creating. And when they look back, they realize, oh my goodness, this entire time, this person has been building and really laying out a foundation for themselves. And it makes me feel like I have a purpose in knowing them as well. I think it's just innately, even if people can't always put a word to it, they feel some sense of like fatedness or just like beautiful, really. Yeah. Wow. So, I'm sorry, I deviated a little bit, but the reason why is because I was thinking about kind of the alchemy, right? In this unknown, this uncreated. I think that you inspire people, you give them ideas. I think you're the kind of person to be a wonderful person to bounce ideas around with, to kind of share your wisdom. Again, you alchemize things around you. And I think that what you end up alchemizing for people really shifts their reality in a positive way. And it leaves them feeling like they've grown just through knowing you. They've expanded just through being in your presence. And that's a really rare quality to have, pile 3. I have to say, like, this is beautiful energy. I think you just truly, you embody an energy that I think is hard to fake. And so I think if anybody tries to emulate it, it just doesn't work the same way. Damn. Okay. I love that. And so, yeah, I think that is what ends up being the gift to others, is your presence, your spark, the wisdom that you hold. And Magician, I believe Aries, I think. Oh my gosh, I need to refresh on this, but yeah, I love that energy though. The next one I have here that I really am enjoying to read as well is the strength that you don't really see in yourself, a strength that you don't necessarily know about, or I guess maybe notice much. Ooh. Huh. It's funny because it's 2 of Wands, but in particular, this 2 of Wands always makes me think of, it kind of gives me more thoughts when I just see the image here. I love like this deck in general. There's a duality to you, both in how you are able to use the practical and the logical. And I don't know that you necessarily always realize how much kind of foundational, like the groundwork you really lay for yourself. Maybe there's a part of you that, you know, again, I wonder if for this pile, and again, this is as someone who is an Aquarius moon, I feel this very strongly. It doesn't have to be an Aquarius moon, but I've always kind of felt like, you know, my mind and my world existed better in the abstract, in my mind. If anyone else here is kind of a logical, like, thinker, right? That always felt more natural, as in that kind of headspace. When it came to practical, and also wand, right? I was thinking of pentacles for a second, but this is not just practical as well. I think that might apply since I said it, but I would also say with the wands of, like, you know, leadership, and you may not see yourself as someone who could be a leader, but I think you could be a wonderful leader based on all these other traits here. And I think there's also maybe a recognition of, there are so many different directions that you could go in that you could be very successful in. And I wonder if maybe that feels like stuckness, but it's being presented here, or maybe it's being suggested or proposed as being possibly just an acknowledgement that you have a lot of avenues you could take and you could succeed in. And maybe in some ways, you know, you have maybe more reason to believe in yourself than you might originally think, or you might have, you know, a bit of anxiety about certain things, and you're being encouraged to really hone in and say, wait a second, like, I can do this. I have this skill set. I have this other, I think, again, you have a lot of different skill sets, a lot of different things. Any kind of success that you have, while it can feel, again, very emotionally based, it can feel maybe more abstract and almost spiritual, it has tangible effects in real time. in your day-to-day. So I just maybe want to acknowledge that if you feel like a lot of what I'm talking about just feels like spiritual and 5D. No, like there are tangible effects and tangible ways that you show up very powerfully. I guess I just want to point out to this group, like if you feel like you are, you know, maybe excelling in one way and not the other, and sometimes I will speak for myself and say I sometimes feel like I'm doing okay, you know, in my mind when I'm thinking through ideas, but then the practical application I sometimes struggle with. And I guess maybe there's a point here to say you're actually doing better than you think. So I'm really enjoying this tarot here. I do have one last piece, and I really actually enjoyed this because it's been a little bit of kind of this like added context of like, where do your best qualities show up, or is there some sort of message that wants to come through? And so these are a little bit, you know, these are some messy cards, but again, we are here to find out about your best qualities. We've learned lots of them, and I just want to get a little more context if I can. So tell me about pile 3, please. Comparison. Yeah, I will say I think a lot of people will compare themselves to you. You might have found yourself in patterns where comparison was big in your life. And I do feel like if that is something that is at all difficult for you, either in you comparing yourself to others or people comparing themselves to you, know that that will get better is actually what I'm hearing right now. So for some reason, someone needed to hear that. About pile 3, any other context? Numbness. All right, last but not least, tell me about, this could also be separate messages about comparison and numbness, but take that as it resonates. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to take this one since it also flew out. Reaching out first. Deadline. You know, it's funny. I think there might be a sense of urgency that you do offer some people in terms of, you know, the importance for them to be able to keep up with you a little bit. Like, I think you do truly move on. You are experienced in these tower moments. Like, you're like, okay, what's next? Like, let's go. That I think people are bound to compare themselves to you. I think there are lots of ways where maybe there needs to be a connection inward for them, for whoever might be looking at you a certain way or might feel a certain way towards you. And again, I think there's also just a reminder of the fact that there are things that need to get done now. And, you know, I think there's a lot of times where people might be procrastinating or avoiding certain growth points or certain things that have to happen because they're scared, because they're nervous, because they prefer the comfort of what they're currently, you know, experiencing than the risk of the unknown. And you are such a wonderful example of what it is like to be willing to take the leap and land on both feet just fine, because you've laid the foundation for yourself. And so you've already laid out exactly what you need, and it made it easy for you to regroup. I'm not going to say easy. I'm speaking relatively. But I guess my point in all of this is that you do make people question a lot about themselves, question a lot about their journey, and that's not something to feel sorry about or bad about, because that's your journey and they're on theirs. But I do think similarly to this whole thing, right, like this idea of tower moments, I think you need to be around people that are willing to go to those depths as well, who are willing to handle those tower moments, because how else are you going to handle those, you know, as with friends or loved ones, family? You need to have like-minded individuals who are willing to remove what's not needed and make those changes. So I think maybe this is just a reminder of that as well. I just want to note real quick, February 6th could be important, or the 26th of a month, as well as June 2nd. February 2nd could be important, 22. June 7th or July 6th could be important, as well as July 5th or May 7th. So a few things there. And honestly, I think I'm going to leave this here, group 3. I think this was such an interesting reading, and I'm really curious who chose this group. I would love for you to comment and let me know. And yeah, I think you're a wonderful, wonderful human. I think you've got a really great head on your shoulders. So yeah, I'm excited to see who you are. I hope you can let me know. So yeah, please comment, and so feel free to comment and like this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.